Bad news, everybody. That was really unfortunate timing. Thanks, Comcast. So the bad news is, I can't do the heart fight over again. The bad news is I didn't realize the internet had dropped until I'd landed the final blow and looked over at chat, and I was like, oh no! Oh no. My options are exit game, progress is not saved, or abandon run. But none of them are replay the heart fight. So, oops. Fuck. Not my intention. Apologies, everybody. It was a really sweet heart fight, for the record. Rerun it again with the same seed. It has already saved, I think, unfortunately. I am so sorry. The good news is that I am moving in 2 weeks, and I will not be going with Comcast in my new location. So, hopefully, this doesn't have to happen anymore. What happened? What cards did I play? I played Bludgeon. It worked out really well. I played Bludgeon. Yeah, really sorry about that, folks. Just imagine it in your head. We drew a lot of cards, gained a lot of strength, had a good time. Dang. Truly unfortunate there. Truly unfortunate. That is the worst timing I've ever had for a disconnect. And I really wish I could go back and do the heart fight again. I am sad that our VOD is ruined. Gosh dang it. Gosh dang it. That's a rude one. It was a 4-turn fight, by the way. That's why I didn't last, like, why I didn't notice that I disconnected until after the fight, is because it only lasted 4 turns. We did a whole heck of a lot of card draw, and a whole heck of a lot of damage. Have I done the Thornton mod? I have, Melee MP3. I have indeed. Bot is rebooted for you there, Tom. Thank you for reminding. Problems IRL is actually planning on doing a showdown against me, racing with racing against me with the Thornton mod, which we're hoping to do on, fingers crossed, Thursday. Actually, it was only 3 turns. Actually, the heart was dead before I even got to it. And I just saw a victory screen there. Go figure. So I've got an unfinished thought kicking around. That it seems like a reasonably opportune time to do. Which is, we started a run in Deck of Ashes a few days ago, I think on Thursday or Friday, checking out this other deck building card game roguelike. Played about 4 hours of it, became brokenly OP, and there's just one little bit left to finish out, which I think I've got time for in the rest of today's stream. So what I'd like to do here is switch games, take a second look at Deck of Ashes, and see if the overpowered nonsense that we started with is going to be enough to finish that run. Nintendo should make a deck building roguelike. It would give me a good reason to buy a Switch if they made one. Would give me good reason to buy a Switch. So though, if you're disappointed by the timing of that disconnect, believe me, I am furious right now about what just happened. Just taking a moment to even out here, but oof. I can't wait to change ISPs. I don't know how or why, but I think 90% of my internet outages have occurred during Act 4. It's so perfectly timed to really mess with me every time. Oh well. Let's check out some Deck of Ashes. My ISP is currently Comcast, not by choice. Big title and game. Let's switcheroni here. Alrighty. So if you've never seen Deck of Ashes before, this is a game that is still in early access. Takes a decent amount of inspiration from Slay the Spire, but does some of the core mechanics really, really differently. Hey! Welcome to Deck of Ashes! Exclusive early access perks include find and take advantage of overpowered bugs, combos, and exploits that won't make it into the final game. And we definitely started out the run by doing exactly that. Last time we checked this out. Comcast is taking over AT&T. Wow, that's a fun twist of history. I heard of Galaxy Squad. I have not heard of that, Mick. Are you part of our exclamation point Discord? Because if so, I would super appreciate if you post a link to that game in the Discord. It should be a super convenient way for me and others to take a look at it. So let me jump into our campaign save here on Deck of Ashes and explain a little bit about what this game is. Deck of Ashes is a deck-building roguelike card game, similar to Slay the Spire, but follows a more campaign progression-y, almost like... I've compared it to Heroes of Might and Magic a little bit, where you wander around a map, hitting up different locations, acquiring loot, acquiring different resources, and using those to upgrade your town and get better goods. There's a lot of inspirations also from Darkest Dungeon. In particular, we've got a whole bunch of different resources here at the bottom. Keys, goblets, relics, herbs, ore. These are all used to upgrade things in town. The biggest difference between Deck of Ashes and Slay the Spire is the aforementioned Deck of Ashes. Unlike in Slay the Spire, your discard pile does not automatically shuffle itself into the draw pile when you run out of cards. Instead, cards have to be returned from the discard pile, the so-called Deck of Ashes. When you play a card, it is discarded to the Deck of Ashes, and they stay there until manually returned. Some cards, like our non-contact combat, only do things while they're in the Deck of Ashes. And other ones have to be restored manually. After each combat, let's get into a combat and show it off. Start of battle. Yep, that's definitely 7 copies of non-contact combat still going off. So here's a typical battle in Deck of Ashes. We're on the left, our opponents are on the right. Very much a Darkest Dungeon style art form to it. Every enemy does tell you what they're going to do. They've got a tiny little intent here that you do get a full-size version of if you mouse over it. The enemy's apparently going to discard our cheapest card from the battle deck, which is not a worry. Not a worry at all. At the end of the round, all cards in the player's hand are discarded. Oh, that's right, this enemy messes with the Deck of Ashes by renewing random cards. So this enemy is built to mess with what we do, pretty much. The core strategy, we're partway through a run here, so the core strategy that my deck has been using is that we have 7 copies, kind of 7 of non-contact combat, which says deal 2 damage to a random opponent each turn, and deal 2 additional damage for each fragile card in our hand. Fragile cards are basically cards that exhaust. This one, anything with the keyword fragile. This card is destroyed at the end of battle or when it would be discarded to the Deck of Ashes. So anything that doesn't go to your discard pile, essentially. Kind of works not too dissimilarly from having 7 copies of 1,000 Cuts in play. Yeah, Bunny, most certainly. There's a bit of complexity when it comes to what the enemies are doing, which is nice. But this game could definitely take some readability and intuitiveness lessons from Slay the Spire. It really makes you appreciate how easy it is to immediately understand when looking at Slay the Spire what's going on. Like the interface is brightly colored, there's icons telling you everything. And in a game that lacks that, it can be a little jarring. The most unique feature or differentiator between this and SCS is definitely how discarding works. That cards are manually discarded or restored. I'm gonna have to talk about what each of our cards do. What part of the core strategy for this deck is using Secret Set. When this card is played, add 4 fragile Throw Dagger cards to our battle deck, and fragile cards combo with our non-contact combat powers. I'm gonna call them powers. They're called Ash cards by the game. So we put a bunch of those in the draw pile. Every turn we have 5 energy to spend. Let's poison our opponent. So cards that we played get discarded to the Deck of Ashes, and they will stay there until we deliberately return them. When we end our turn, anything that is... what we just did there is the non-contact combats. At the end of our turn, we choose up to 3 cards to put them back at the bottom of the draw pile. And everything else stays in our hand, as if we had a Runic Pyramid. Discarding my stuff. Oh, that's right, and this enemy is powered. Discards all the stuff in our hand at the end of turn. Because they're rude. This is not the start of a campaign, no. The start of a run would definitely be less confusing. Most certainly. Certainly a lot less chaos happening. So apologies for that. What are you doing? Dealing a huge amount of damage to me? 38? Wow, that's a lot of damage. Well, you have fun with that. And then I actually want to return these. Ow. We're also dealing with an enemy that does some really complicated stuff, so that is not helping. That is definitely not helping. This enemy is stunned. Put another non-contact combat in play. These little daggers, we can throw them for 5 damage, but they're actually worth more damage by being in our hand. The length of a winning run is a lot longer than Slay the Spire, which is why we're joining this one partway through. From my experience last time, it feels like 4 to 6 hours is how long a run takes. Which is a long time, right? There's a lot of time to spend. They're all gonna get exhausted anyway. Should want these to be destroyed. This enemy is doing very strange things to my cards, unfortunately. Oh god, you're gonna do 54 damage to me. It's truly unfortunate. I don't want to take that much damage. I don't want to take that much damage. Wow, those powers. Crazy. Yeah, so we're taking a ton of health. Health is pretty easy to get back. It is not a short afternoon game after work, no. It is definitely not that. Rip. Okay. So I'll try to, try to explain things a little better for maybe the next fight. Setup of this game means you can spend as much time improving your deck as you would like. There is a time limit. There's a bar at the top of each map. There's 3 chapters, kind of like 3 acts. And every action you take on the world map costs you a little bit of time, increments the counter a little bit forward. So kind of like FTL, you're allowed to jump around. You're allowed to jump around a lot and visit a whole bunch of locations, but there is a time limit. However, my experience with this time limit so far has been that it's far too generous. You are able to visit far too many locations, do too many fights, craft too many cards, get way too many upgrades, such that you can easily get ahead of the game's power curve. And so I would truly like it to be cut in half. It's far too generous. After every combat, we get a whole bunch of rest points that we can use. Part of that can be used to renew our cards. Here are all the cards that are currently in our discard pile. They stay in the discard pile unless we manually renew each of them, which gives us a whole lot of control over what exactly... Wow, how did Secret Seg? Man, I've never had these actually, like, not renewed before. Gives us a lot of control over what exactly it is that's in the deck. Can also use some of these to heal up. We're hurting pretty bad, so we'll get some healing. And I'm going to return to town and do some stuff in town here. Can you choose a difficulty like Ascension? There are difficulty options, Bunny. For the most part, these difficulty options don't affect like the numbers in combat, but rather affect what happens to you when you die. We're playing on the highest difficulty, which treats the game like a full roguelike. If you die, you must restart the entire game from scratch. On lower difficulties, you may have to only restart the chapter, or on the easiest difficulty, if you die, you simply respawn in town. So you can play this more like an RPG if you would like. Let's use our scroll of... We can teleport to town once every... however often. In town, there are a bunch of merchants that do various things. The merchant lets us buy card recipes. Let's see. Deal damage equal to your speed to an opponent twice. That's not bad. A lot of the cards we found so far haven't been all that useful. Another thing that's really, really different from Slay the Spire is that when we acquire cards, do not... we do not add cards directly to our deck, but rather we pick up a recipe for a card. And then in town we can turn those recipes into cards that are actually in the deck. So it gives you a lot of control over what cards are in the deck at any given moment. Instead of having to be like, I'm going to take this card because it might synergize with the, you know, I want to take this Floor Zero Catalyst just in case I get poison later. In Deck of Ashes, you're free to do that. Because you don't have to actually add the card to your deck until later, and you can wait until you have an entire group of synergizing cards before you create anything. We're gonna make our 8th copy of Non-Contact Combat, because that seems fair and balanced. Yeah, do we wanna start doing the on-draw poison? Don't think so. fourth one? No, there's not a fourth one. We can revisit the Ashmaster to renew all of our cards, or to burn specific cards, which actually puts them into the Deck of Ashes, which is where we want some of them. Let's also cure these. I want to unlock an upgrade. Sure, we'll get some upgrades. So I can now cure ailments. Goes out of the deck permanently. We had some jerk stuff. Is there anything analysis to relics or event choices? There are events. So far the events have been lots and lots and lots of text. Without too much in the way of decisions. I haven't seen relics. We can buy stat items from the healer to increase some of our stats permanently, which we've mostly maxed out. You have the ability to get crit chance up, max health, dodge chance up, speed increase, strength increase. The female designs in this game are definitely problematic in a lot of ways. I can't say I'm a fan at all of the depiction of females. There's not a single one that we've seen so far that hasn't been extremely skimpily dressed. And with exaggerated body features. So let's see here. Is there anything else I want to do in town? We got plenty of money. I could dismantle some cards. These knife strikes are no good to me anyway, right? We have all the money in the world. Sure, let's dismantle some of our knife strikes, so that I never have to deal with them again. These are basically the starting strikes of the deck, and I can remove as many cards as I want, as long as I have money, which is something Slay the Spire does well. I think removal should be more limited in deck builders, because it's very powerful. It's very powerful. Take that out of the deck, too. Alright, we're out of money. Let's go to a heroic dungeon, or what have you. Yeah, a consistent aesthetic would be nice. It really highlights something about the design choices when they're different like that. I do happen to know that the developers for this are based in Europe, towards the more eastern side. And that might have... That doesn't excuse anything, to be clear, but it might highlight parts of where that comes from. I don't know. I don't know. Fortunately, playing as the male character, the female character designs don't appear too often, so that's a plus. That's a plus. Alright, let's go... Let's get some extremely resourceful stuff. So this is the boss of the chapter yelling at us as the timer at the top advances. As we wander around the map, we hit unknown tiles, which may have events that have tons of text on them. This one's not too bad. The map shows a village here. I'm standing in the middle of a swamp. See drooping crosses far in the distance, and I'm surrounded by the shattered remnants of long-abandoned wooden dwellings, drowning in the thick, swampy mire. There used to be a village here, but now it has vanished from the face of the earth, passed away, leaving only rotting walls behind. What I needed was people. Now I'll have to keep dragging myself from one uninhabited place, swarming with dangerous beasts, to the next. Didn't even manage to get my hands on a pair of good, sturdy boots. Womp womp. That somehow gives me -1% dodge chance for the next 3 battles. Okay. Pretty low impact. To the dungeon. So dungeons are like cave locations on the map that lead us to a sub-level where there's a whole bunch of combats and loot and stuff. can choose to do these either normally or heroically, and heroic dungeons contain much stronger enemies, but also incredibly, in our experience, rewarding enemies. We've got here loot. So here's a hard battle. We can see... One of the things I do like, by the way, is that it tells you exactly the rewards you're going to get from a combat, which would be neat to know for Slay the Spire. Like, if you moused over a hallway fight, like, here's exactly how much gold this can give you. Here's your potion chance. We know that this will give us 60 ash. Ash is a resource we use to craft our cards. A lot of gold. Gold is a ridiculously useful resource in this game. I wouldn't call it analogous to Slay the Spire gold. Gold in Slay the Spire is a resource that you don't know what you can get from it. It depends on what's for sale in the shop, right? You know you can spend it on card removals, but you don't know if you're going to get a good relic. You don't know if the cards on offer are going to be what you want. In Deck of Ashes, you can use your gold to improve your character in a very predictable way, and that makes gold a very, very valuable resource. Start of battle. Level 6 Shadow. Oh, that has a lot of health, my god. The start of the Shadow's turn, player draws 2 cards. Okay. Has a bunch of dodge chance, and deals damage equal to the total mana cost of the cards in the player's hand. Okay, so that's why it makes us draw extra cards. Well, unfortunately for the Shadow, that's not going to work out so well for it. There's a couple of cool enemies we've encountered so far that have used attack mechanics like this, where their attack power is based on something interesting, like our hand cost or what have you. More like an actual RPG than Slay the Spire? A little bit more, yeah. A little bit more, and you're given the option to play it like one. But I'm allowed to return cards from my hand at the end of my turn, so like I can just return the expensive ones. That's a cool design, but it doesn't feel like it's actually going to do anything to me. Let's play our healing effects. So my most expensive cards, at the end of the turn, I can just return them. All this madness going on at the end of turn is from these 8 copies of non-contact combat, which is our main damage source. Since the discard pile and the draw pile, or sorry, since the discard pile is permanent, and the analogy to power cards in this game operate as long as they're in the discard pile, it means that our powers effectively stay in play between fights, and that is, as far as I can tell, really strong. Like, really, really strong. So for the most part, my turns are... end turn, because these non-contact combats deal damage based on how many fragile cards are in my hand, so I just get my hand full of fragile cards, and then when I hit end turn, I deal a disgusting amount of damage to my opponent. Like, truly an unholy amount of damage to my opponent. So, Secret Set puts more of these throw daggers into my deck. Hand Tricks allows me to choose a card in my hand and add up to 5 copies from the deck into my current hand. So I can get all the fragile cards in there, and then when I end turn, I deal so much damage. Just so much damage. That's how most fights have gone. Kind of like that. What even makes it a discard pile if the cards keep having an effect? It's not a discard pile exactly. It's the Deck of Ashes. It is fundamentally different. It's certainly not the place where cards do nothing. It's just a different deck, I guess. Yeah, kind of like the Exhaust Zone, I suppose, but cards can do stuff from it. It's really, really interesting. So at end of combat, we can renew important cards like Silent Onslaught. Our card that gives us stealth, which allows us to be impervious. Return that, return that. I wonder if I even wanted that. Short full, and I'll take a recipe. Sure. Got 2 relics. Not Slay the Spire relics, just one of the resources at the bottom there. So somewhere in this dungeon, there's a dungeon boss that's guarding a dungeon chest. That's never gonna get old. Alright, we're up against 2 rogues and a level 7 guard. Got human synergy. 10 damage to an opponent, deal an additional 10 for each level of the opponent if it's higher than 4. Well, that's a lot. 74 damage. Got him. Get got. Get got. So one of the cards that this rogue character has is Shadow Assistant, which is a fragile card that always starts in our opening hand and says the next strike card that an opponent plays on you is reflected back at the attacker. This has been a really strong mitigation source. There's no block analogy in this game. Mitigation sources come from avoiding enemy attacks entirely, or usually in the form of just healing damage back. 1 health, got him. Ah, we just dodge. Or dodge chancing. That's yes. Right, Tom. Status effects that are attached to the enemy's attack do not get reflected back. So one of the cards that I put in this deck are Cyclone of Daggers. These are unplayable cards, but when we draw this card, it deals AoE damage to all enemies, and I think that's a really cool mechanic. Poison gain stealth. Too much damage to me. I'm gonna gain stealth. So, one of the important cards that it's in this deck is called Silent Onslaught, which deals a little bit of damage, and then gives stealth to our character, which prevents us from being targeted from any attacks for the rest of the turn. It's kind of like an overpowered intangible, as far as I can tell, and it is disgusting. It is very strong. And then non-contact combat does its thing. Absolutely obliterates everybody. So he tried to play his card, but we were stealthed. And then we drew our our card that killed him. So if you haven't guessed the theme here, the deck that we have right now operates by not playing its cards. And it's working honestly way too well. Like way too well. Oh, I brought on Holy Tome. Don't know why I didn't craft that earlier. Give me a recipe. Hemophilia. Ration applied on... Okay, whatever. Nope. Discard a random ailment from your battle deck. You don't have any ailments. We cured them all. Chests require a variable number of keys to open, and inside each chest is 3 recipes. You get to pick one. Again, when you're choosing a recipe, you're not adding it directly to your deck, but instead adding it to your inventory of stuff that you can craft. Oh, Stepwise Elimination series. When you play this card or its copies, gain a bonus effect till the end of battle. Neat. We got a bunch of those, they'd be cool. Card on the right is dope. It is. It is. Spirit of Despair. All the players' cards gain Phoenix. Oh, that's right, that's what you do. So, cards that have Phoenix don't go to the deck of Ashes when played. So this enemy prevents our cards from going to the deck of Ashes, which is actually really good for us. It is incredibly good for us, in fact. Sure, I'll just gain stealth. Don't imagine this fight's gonna last very long. Got him. Some of the enemies seem extremely non-threatening in comparison to one another. It's a little baffling, if I do say so. Get him. As the game got much harder since Act 1, it has gotten considerably easier since Act 1. To be entirely honest with you. It has gotten a lot easier since Act 1. With all these non-contact combats going off, it's just unfair. So every turn you draw up to your hand size maximum. So you are preventing yourself from drawing cards if you just hold stuff in hand. But that's alright. But that's alright. This character randomly gets benefits or detriments based on the tormented voices of his family that are mocking him. Lord. Got him. Yeah, murder victims and or wife. How many copies of that card do I have in the deck of ashes? 8 of them. Umwebu. There are 8 copies of the power that triggers that does damage at end of turn. And hopefully more to come. There's no practical limit to how many we can have, because since they start in play, there's none of the trouble of, like, you'd have Enslay the Spire, where if you have 10 copies of Defragment in your deck, you can just draw all of them on turn 1 or 2. And bad things will happen. Change of priorities. What does that do? Oh yeah, that one. Tome of Wrath. Sure, whatever. Sure, whatever. Give me some ash. So we're getting huge, like, absolutely massive amounts of money from each of these fights. For reference, the monetary reward from every single one of these combats is enough to trash 4 cards permanently from the deck. Or to buy, like, 2 stat boosting items. Like, it's absolutely insane how out of control it gets very quickly. Open the chest. There's another Cyclone of Daggers to deal AoE damage to everybody when we draw it. I wonder if we should remove the ones that we have. Some more fights. What is this? Sea Maiden? More of a Squid Maiden. Telsomatic Link. If the player kills a fish egg, the Sea Maiden takes 5 damage but also gets +1 strength. Sure. We'll have fun with that. This card, Stepwise Elimination. Why? Oh, there we go. That one. Well, that one. So I'm going to hold on to these. And just break this fight in half next turn. You unlock recipes, not cards. That's right. That is absolutely correct. Dropping 2 fish eggs, have fun. With your fishy madness. I will do damage to you. In massive quantity. Every turn. Have fun. So my strategy is basically just get all these in my hand and then win. It's the entirety of the strategy. It's less damage to play the shivs than it is to just hold them. Because we have so many copies of non-contact combat. Lord. So yeah, that's a ridiculously rewarding high-level fight, for reference. This is about the most difficult combat we can encounter at the moment. You do retain your cards after each hand, and then you draw until you have a full hand of normally 6, but we have an item that increases it to 8 cards in hand. Healing Bomb. I like how we do damage before the enemies even show their intents. Crazy. Ghoul is attacking me. You are going to stun me. When the Spore takes damage or restores health, it deals 3 damage to the player. Some daggers. I forgot to restore my cards. If you run out of cards to draw from your draw pile, like it's since like in Slay the Spire, you don't automatically shuffle the discard pile. You get this card called Ash Pact given to you, which causes you to take 20 damage and then renews 5 cards at random from your deck of ashes back into your battle deck. I haven't found a need to use it yet. Oh god. So that's the power damaging the enemy and the enemy damaging me in return. It's not great. It's not great. Spore Queen's going first. Okay, so it doesn't benefit me to reflect. Murder them with my power. Minor amounts of damage. Oh, I just dodged it anyway. Got him. In turn. It's just in turn, lol. Got him. Alright, I should probably restore some of our cards. Mostly we need the healing one back, we want hand tricks back, we want both of our silent onslaughts back. If I have no cards in play, it's a little difficult, apparently. Apparently. Don't know why it's such trouble. Found a recipe! What's in the box? Draw a card for each opponent. Dispel a negative effect applied on you and increase your speed by 1 until the rest of battle. Speed is a stat that determines the order in which enemies act in combat. Kind of like an RPG style. If you're too slow, if your speed stat is too low when you start entering combats, you're gonna get really wrecked because all the enemies would go before you. Bad times. I am looking for the boss. Have you seen them? A wereboar. Wereboars are pretty easy in my experience. Have fun hitting yourself. Shivs in hand, and then we hit end turn. And literally so much damage happens. Again, these are the hardest enemies that can be encountered on the hardest difficulty. And this strategy is just breaking them. Like, really badly. Really, really badly. Let me just get back the cards we need for that. Hello, boss. Where are you? May lose a recipe. No thanks. These are some of the events we encounter where you're threatened with losing something, and you're given the option to either fight, to not lose a thing, or just lose the thing but avoid the fight. Since fights are mostly resource gain, at least for me, it's not something I care to avoid unless I'm trying to save time, which I currently am. All monsters increased. Well, good. Maybe they'll put up a fight. Turn one more card. The restoration after each fight does... I think it definitely has the potential to be tedious. I kind of enjoy the layer of strategy it adds, but I can certainly see how one might find it annoying to deal with. Boosting your speed, you're boosting your strength based on how many cards we have in the deck of ashes. That's terrifying. You're summoning a thing. Have fun summoning a thing. You do that. Summon your thing. My turn. Do a random ash card? But why? Why would you do that to me? So we stealth so they can't hit us. Probably gonna do the same thing again next turn. Damn it, my non-contact combat! No! So it's actually interesting. Enemies can, like, pull your powers off of you and put them back into your deck. Sometimes. Which is crazy. But also cool. Blorp. You got blorped, son? No, not again! Not again. Alright, I'm gonna try to draw those powers so I can put them back in play. Nope. Yeah. Would this deck function at all if there was a hard counter enemy that ignored the ash powers? It would function on some level, I think. I'm supposed to renew cards. Well, too late. Show me the boss. Okay, here's some of our powers. You have to put Secret Set into play first. Boosting strength, doing damage, doing damage. Those are fine. Those are fine. Wait, what? How did I glitch my hand out? Did you see that? The Secret Set is hidden behind non-contact combat. In my hand. What is going on here? It's hiding. Why are you hiding? Come out and play. Ouch, owie. last one in play here. We're probably going to take a lot of damage, but that's fine because we can just restore a lot of health at the end of each combat. Bleed is damage over time that we can remove with healing effects. Not so bad. We have an automatic healing effect that just removed it, for example. I would agree, Cheesy Bob. There's definitely a lot of... What did I just play? Oh, I played Secret Set, right? There's definitely a lot of parallels, especially like in the Spore enemy here. It definitely feels like something straight out of Darkest Dungeon, doesn't it? Yeah, you apply that bleed. Have fun. Some enemies seem like they're way more threatening than others. It's not something I've figured out what to do with yet. Just kill the ones that are super threatening. Hit him with the shivs. I was like, I can actually just play these shivs if I have to. They do pretty good damage. We have like 3 or 4 passive points of strength. They don't normally do 7 damage. I meant to renew that, not craft it. Well, we have a bonus one of those now. Hooray. We're recrafting this. That's what I forgot to get back. There should be a boss around here somewhere, I swear. I swear. Bleeding me. Nightwing's card effects activate twice. Okay, you're bleeding me twice. Hooray. Discard that. I want to hand trick these into play. Start doing crazy damage immediately. Okay, boosting speed twice. Returns. Don't mind if I do. Crazy to me that the powers can crit off of a random crit chance. That just seems pretty fundamentally broken. 1 damage, use by 1 for every card in the player's hand. We'll just dodge that with our stealth. Continue to do overpowered things at end of turn. Got him.
Don't give up slow.
Warp. 4 cards. So I'm just able to gain like 3 random recipes at the end of each combat. I have nothing else to do with my time, apparently. Health restoration in the tent now restores more. And even more. Okay. Hello, dungeon boss. I think time is supposed to be passing while we're doing this. So when we remerge, we should find that we're kind of close to the boss showing up. At least I hope that's the case. Fishy. These enemies are very fishy. It's so much angrier than Slay the Spire, isn't it? It's very dark and dreary and sad. It feels like. Oh yeah. Perhaps even the second darkest dungeon. Wooded Peony. The darkerest dungeon. Yeah, cool. So we can bag of tricks our way into having all the throw daggers in hand. And then we end turn and craziness happens. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Oh, my lord. Lord. Do the stuff that makes me invincible. Heartbeat, sure. What's in the box? Wide holster. Choose a card from your hand, draw all copies of this card. That's better than Bag of Tricks, which is what I've been using. That is exactly the card this deck wanted. Alright, there's supposed to be a boss around here somewhere, but hell if I know. So we haven't looked back over here yet. Totally okay to just wander through the dungeon. This should be wasting time and causing the ruler to become closer to me. And if so, good. I would like to fight the boss very shortly here. Level monsters is down? Sure. Well, let's see a boss. There's supposed to be one. The very left. Connected unexplored tile. That one? Oh, there's an unexplored tile there, too. Let's go. Onward. Let's look at that chest. Oh, there's another thing that way. Another wide holster. I'm down. Got ourselves a Hellhound. I don't think it's got much of a chance, unfortunately. We've got a lot of daggers into our hand on turn one. That worked out really well. I dodge. Your move, fools. Rest in pieces. So this should just die. Not quite. Another rapid poison. Take that. I don't know if I'll ever end up using it, but I might. Yeah, let's just get out of here. Okay, so all of that only caused the boss to go this much closer to us. That's not even close to fair. It's not even close to fair. I'm actually gonna probably walk back and forth a little bit on purpose to accelerate the timer, because I would like to just fight the boss right now. It's late. We're more than strong enough. I don't really see the need to do anything needlessly fancy or any of that. Some ash. It's time to kick some ash. Should be able to take out a quick fight swiftly here. Fun nerds. I'll reduce my max health for the fight. I don't know what deck archetype gets ruined by that, but might be somebody. Might be somebody. I managed to end my turn and kill him before I drew cards for the turn. I didn't know you could do that. That's pretty cool, actually. I did not know you could do that. It's hilarious. How do we get more copies of the power? We've been finding them in 3 key chests for the most part. It seems like when we... That's another Ash card, actually. It seems like when we played for the first time, there was a glitch where all 3 key chests always offered the same 3 cards. Non-contact combat, 1 million cuts, and remedial potion. These 3. And so far, this has, in this run, this has always been the case. I think it's a glitch. I don't know, but it does mean I can get more of those by going to these 3 key chests, and we're gonna do that. Let's see, is there a way to get over here that isn't combat? I'd like to avoid combats. I would like to avoid combats. Thank you, the ruler is looking for me. Turn more cards. I apologize for how fast this is going, but I also would be apologizing for how slow this was going if I wasn't doing it, so... I don't know, seems like a win-win. Maybe a lose-lose. I love this strategy, though. Play slow and fast. Got it. What does that even mean? I'm not going to worry about it. I'm just going to do it. Got him. I can just craft a non-contact combat right now. What's in the box? Their unholy tome. Seems fine to me. Another non-contact combat. I believe in you. Teleport over here? No, over here. These are teleport stones that let us teleport to other ones on the map. As you can see, like, there's more than enough time with the timer to visit every single location on this map twice, which I think is too many. Hey, they're in a different order this time. On contact combat number 10. There's another chest over here. Let's go get that one too. Several cards have been discarded to the deck of Ashes. Non-contact combat? Thanks! I appreciate what you've done. And here's a non-contact combat. We didn't have quite this much time in the first act. No, somebody else was talking about this, where it actually feels like you got more. More time as the game went on, which is just unnecessary. I'm gonna go ahead and end my turn a bunch of times. Our secret set is gone, which is not great. I'll have to manually renew that. So I am literally just ending turn and not actually playing any cards in this combat, and I win pretty decisively. Okay. 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 Fair and balanced. I have 2 of these? Oh man, I want both of those. How did I even get 2 copies of Secret Set? Not sure what happened there. That's one of our starter cards. I don't think I've ever seen another one offered, but now we have 2 copies. That's really nice. I'll take it. Alright, what is the most efficient way to skip time? I bet it's to go back and forth between dungeons. Yeah, this is it. Alright. Come to me, boss. Yes, the ruler is looking for me. Good. I'm looking for the ruler. I would like him to be here now. Yeah, we haven't crafted every non-contact combat. We'll get him before the ruler, as we're offered 1 chance in town. Should not have trespassed on my land. Get off my land, you lazy kid. Ruler. Getting very angry. I sure hope our gimmick is strong enough for the boss, by the way. It might not be. And if so, I embrace our oncoming demise. Warp. Warp. And there's a lot of locations. Okay, the ruler's here. We get 1 last chance in town. We're gonna go ahead and craft both of these non-contact combats. They go into our regular deck, but we can pay the Ashmaster to put them directly into the deck of ashes. And so we'll now have too many copies of that? Too many copies of that. Too many copies of that. So many copies. I guess I should also craft Speedus Power and put that in the deck of ashes as well, since that's another power. That'll make our shivs do more damage if for some reason. Why are the bosses level 1, by the way? That always seemed weird. Disables Flicker of Despair for 1 turn when played. Alright, so at the start of each player's turn, add 1 fragile card to our hand. So this boss is actively enabling our gimmick. Gonna give itself stealth. It's got a high dodge chance. Deals 25 damage if payment for the soul has not been played. Okay, so we have to spend 2 energy to avoid taking 25 damage. Fair enough. Let's get our gimmick going. Let us get our gimmick going. I'll take the 25 damage just to get the gimmick going really well here. Have fun with this, nerd. Boom! Casual 100 damage on turn 1. And I can... Oh yeah, it just... if I don't play it. Alright, fair enough. So he deals 25 to us. Gives himself stealth. And is now going to add 2 spirit shards to my hands. We'll play that one this time. Because I don't want to take the damage here. Okay, have fun. Dodge the heck out of that. Rude. Increase the player's max mana by 1? Why? What is this boss trying to do to me? It's really not working. It's really not working. Ah, deal damage to the player equal to the player's max mana multiplied by 3, you say. So if I play Shadow Assistant and then play the Spirit Shards... Actually, I just keep these because they're doing damage to him. Blorp. Blorp. Oh, I forgot to play the Payment for the Soul, because it wasn't in my hand, that's right. Okay, well that wasn't too bad. GG.
What did you say to Ashmaster? He doesn't talk to you much.
Cutscenes.
Well, let's just say I don't like
He's
anyone
auto-progressed.
messing with my head. But you, Iris, you I wanted to have a word with. You see, I can't help but notice the tiny details. Seems you and the
Our
others
character
know
Sly
me
seems
well.
like he's on a
This
quest to
isn't
be the
your first
ultimate
expedition
edgelord
to the
in all the
Valley of
land.
Death, is it?
Been practicing his voice work.
Why would you think that?
Listen, Beauty, you are like all fish in the sea. Nothing
What?
surprises you. As if you trod this
What?
path before. And my tent, it seems like someone used it before me. I found a red hair in my bed this
Someone been
morning.
sleeping in
I
our
don't
bed?
remember being with a whore of late, so I wonder where it came from.
Whoa.
A red hair? Could be the
The
blacksmith.
blacksmith?
He used to sleep
I like
in your
it.
tent before you joined us.
That guy last washed his head a decade ago. No, this hair belongs to a creature acquainted with hygiene. And I just happen to know such a creature, a former outcast too. Come on, love. You are a terrible liar.
I have no idea
You
where this
can't hide
conversation
the
is
fact
headed.
you
I'm
like
kind of
me.
terrified.
What? How dare you?
I was hoping there'd be like a comedic sound effect. Slap! Slap, slap.
Well, I guess I deserve that. That blush, however, gave you away. You know, you do remind me of someone I hold dear. She too brewed some potions and helped people out. Didn't do her much good in the end. So if I told you I shared your feelings, would you tell me the truth?
Well,
You just nod, love.
What is this
You
weird
did
psychology?
something to Lucia.
I'm not okay with anything
Not
that's
that I
happening
care
right
much
here.
anymore, but I suspect you have a similar plan for me.
This for reference, by the way, there's no lead up to this at all. I'm very confused. Who's Lucia? Great question. I've forgotten.
I put myself in danger telling you this. You are being led into a trap. I can't say much more. I'm sorry.
Fair enough. You've been a huge help as it is.
And then we're gonna drop the conversation
Well,
entirely
you can.
because there's a
Save
boss fight to
yourself.
do.
I'm done running, love. I must see it through. And believe me, that monk hasn't got what it takes to bring me down.
That's right. He doesn't have 12 copies of non-contact
Well,
combat.
be careful then. It'd be a shame
Doesn't
if
have
you
the skills
died.
required.
Don't worry, I don't lose. I've already lost everything.
Oh, the ultimate edgelord. Love that line. I got nothing to
When this
lose
is all over,
because I've got nothing.
I'll come see you.
All right, you have fun. To the
We
Valley
are
of
here
Death.
At last, the Valley of Death awaits. Beyond these gates,
Ow, the
lies the
edge.
silence you crave.
Enough talk. Open the gates.
All that is to come. I've seen it. Do what you must. It will make
Has
no
it become
difference.
self-aware? The dialogue has been something that has to be endured, in my experience, Meryl. On the plus side, you can skip it all. But the writing, dialogue, and arts, to me, have not been selling points for this game. It definitely makes me appreciate how little Slay the Spire tells the player.
You must have seen that too, Master. I guess they taught you to turn the other cheek, huh?
Wretched fool, the prophecy will be fulfilled. You can't escape your fate.
Oh, we got some classic villain
Start
dialogue.
counting sheep, you scheming bastard.
I have no idea why
Before
this
you
guy's
get
the
to
villain.
100, I'll come back for you with Lady Death's head.
Alright, off to kill Lady Death. Hello, my dear fellow. How much time has passed since the day we first met? How many deaths have you given me since then, Black Serpent? Welcome to the Valley of Your Nightmares. This is the Valley of My Nightmares because our deck of ashes is automatically turned into our battle deck at the start of each chapter. So
Commander, one of our
unfortunately don't have any
most
powers in play.
valued supporters says continued support of the XCOM
Orange
project.
Games, good to see you hanging out. Thank you so much for continuing that 10 months of tier heckin' 3 support, almost a whole year. I am doing most well today. We are checking out the very end of a run of Deck of Ashes, which is another roguelike deck building card game with a novel's worth of dialogue. Will be no exception. All effects applied on you have been dispelled. Voices. Those cursed voices are screaming even louder. Kathleen? I can't hear you. Where are you? How much dialogue? How much dialogue is too much dialogue? This game held the answer, I think. It happened a while ago. Oh, I'm glad you think so, Seeking a Tangent. Especially enjoying the collab stuff. I have had an absolute... Oh, all my cards have been discarded in the Deck of Ashes? Well, that's actually really convenient. You don't say. You don't say. All your powers are useless here. Well, you know about that. Mine work really well when you discard them. About that. Shadows no longer conceal me. Now they're consuming me. Pulling me down towards the ground. Happy birthday. To the ground. All your stats have been reset? Okay, all our items are gone. Do not resist them, Black Serpent. Just a couple of steps. Or squirms, my dear. And you will reach me, your lady. But I violated that damn prophet's plan. No, I came here on my own. I was ready. This isn't how it's supposed to be. My dad's not a phone! Start of battle. Alright, all of our powers start in play. We're fighting Lady Death. Who I guess, let's see what do we got here. She's got a ridiculous scythe. An absolutely ridiculous scythe. Don't start celebrating just yet, you bony wench. Yeah, are you just, so we got a whole bunch of fragile copies of our starting deck. I am the Netherworld, my dear. Every opponent you've slain on the way here is now a warrior in my service. Night, combat. Time to die, mortal. Summon one lower and one medium creature from the player. The first not be damaged until her minions have been killed. So what if I just end my turn right now? I think that killed her first phase immediately. It is a little unusual that this isn't voiced, whereas everything that we just did was. I'm very confused. Alright, I'm not going to return any of my cards, because I didn't need to play any. End of round. My turn. Okay. So yes, she literally died immediately. End turn. Blurp. Alright, she actually gets to do her thing here. There will be no end to the sickness. Alright, so we've got some low health enemies. And she's gonna make our stuff cost more. I mean, end turn? I mean, end turn. You cannot slay the Spire? I am the Spire. Oh, now she's a bony wench. Got it. What are you doing? From the third region. I have yet to play a card. I have yet to play the card. So what's going on, Mural, is that we have a whole bunch of copies. 11 copies of this power. Deal 2 damage to a random opponent each turn, and deal bonus damage for each fragile card in your hand. Which, conveniently, the final fight has made every card in our hand fragile. And, it seems like it super counters the final boss. Like, super counters the final boss. Blurp. We have yet to play a card. Are we going to need to play one? That is the question. Tormented souls are once again restless, and they serve me now, and they're yelling at me. In turn. Still no cards played. Oh, she's attacking me for 30 damage. But is she gonna get to play it? Yes, she's gonna get to hurt me. You did it. Good job. You did it. No! Cool. We appear to have won without playing a single card. Good work, us. Good work.
You are done, hag. Now make those voices disappear and I might spare you.
If that's not breaking the game, I don't know what is.
You can hear the dead. Some would consider that a gift. A way of talking to the loved ones that we lost. What about your wife, Sly? The curse gave you a second chance of being with her, and you want to waste it?
One more word, Death, and you will meet your maker.
Wait, who is Death's maker? Wait, what? Does that dialogue work for threatening death?
1,000 words. Take a good one.
Behold, your wife. Death opens a portal. Within it stands your wife. Her image serene and fragile. Eli Dupree loves the Endlord stuff. This is like, some of this I would have definitely eaten up as a teenager. I definitely had a phase of my own where I really enjoyed Sly's kind of character. There's no need to attach it to
Isn't she a beauty,
the baffling casual sexism that the game seems to throw around needlessly.
And she will be doomed for eternal anguish. Poor thing faced a terrible death. It'd be a shame to make her suffer in the afterlife.
Nice dead wife you got there. Be a shame if something were to happen to her. Now we're threatening your dead wife somehow.
Enough babbling. What do you want?
Put a knife to her neck. She's got nothing to slit, dude.
Well, it's your soul I'm after. It's the whole reason why the Prophet brought you here. Give me your soul, and your dear Kathleen will live again. I even promise that she'll live long enough to see her grandchildren.
That reverb, though.
How do I know I can trust you?
Well, you can't, no. But I hold all the cards.
You do have all the cards. I don't have any cards.
Don't worry, I only deal in truth.
You put them all in my deck of
After all,
ashes.
there's nothing truer than death.
We have nothing to fear but truth itself.
Sly, my love, don't bargain with her. Forget me. Finish her. Set yourself free. Please live on for me.
Doesn't something like terribly bad happen if we kill Lady Death anyway? Doesn't like it break the fabric of mortality or something? If nobody dies.
The only reason to love. So be it, hag. I'll bargain.
Yeah. Make the trade.
Self-sacrifice. Quite a choice for a rogue. I almost thought you'd refuse. Now be so kind. Step into the portal.
Lady Death kept her word. The moment Sly went through a portal, Kathleen woke up at her village. She had no memory of what's happened to her, but she was alive, well, and protected by the Lady's vow. As for Sly, his soul now belongs to Lady Death. Ashmaster almost failed this time. That won't happen again. He and his retinue set out to find the next outcast. They can't escape their fate. The prophecy will be fulfilled. Story mode complete. That's stats. I like this. This would be cool to know after Slay the Spire. Killed 113 enemies, 4 bosses, extracted 148 resources. Where's the total damage I took? That's what I want to know. That's what I want to know. You can spend the points you earn to unlock... Oh, we can unlock new cards. Ultra Modifier. Battle Acrobat. 33% dodge chance? What? Earn twice as much ash in battle? Unlocked traits can be bought from the blacksmith in the camp during subsequent playthroughs. Purchased modifiers or ultra modifiers grant special effects during your next playthrough but expire when the playthrough ends, and we can purchase them again. So doing well allows us to purchase like super powered bonuses for the next run that we could then use to, you know, win and get another powerful bonus. It's kind of like a cool... Like, imagine if in Slay the Spire, if you kill the heart, you start the next run with a random rare relic in addition to your regular starting bonus. It'd be cool, but it would make win streaking really interesting. Yeah, Descension, exactly. Descension mode. Sure, give me the Ultra Modifier. Oh, I can buy another one? Crafting costs 0 ash. Just remove the ash mechanic from the game. Cool. Sure, we are super powered the next time we play this. And then we're dumped back into the title screen. Yeah, we still need to pay that cost with meta content, looks like, or meta progression points. Required to unlock additional content such as new cards, traits, modifiers, and ultra modifiers. Well, there you go. That's our first successful run of Deck of Ashes. The final boss was defeated without playing a single card. How often do you get to say that? Probably not too often. Probably not too often. Yeah, looks like reward points would carry over, so if we didn't spend that, I think we get to keep it? I don't know. I don't imagine I am too likely to look at this game again until after it sees a full release. We might check in back with it. But the current state of the game is pretty easily exploitable by a player such as myself. If exploiting a game like I just did is really fun to you, then maybe this is worth checking out if you can look past the weaker points of the game. But yeah, I definitely enjoyed. I had fun. I had fun playing. Would it be possible in Slay the Spire to beat a boss without playing cards? Yes, it would be possible. It wouldn't be too easy, and I don't know if it could occur during normal run conditions, but it would be possible. Let's say, for example, you roll up to Slime Boss and you have Stone Calendar and a Mercury Hourglass. That would be enough AoE damage to kill the Slime Boss without playing any cards. I don't know how you'd survive, but it would definitely be enough damage that you could defeat the slime boss. Add some other useful relics, and you could probably make it work. But I don't know how that would occur during a normal run. Although Seed Search might be able to make it happen. So you had a fossilized helix, a stone calendar, Mercury Hourglass. Is there any other good damage relic that would work on Slime Boss? Oh yeah, without playing cards you could use potions. 3 fire potions, and those relics, and that's all you'd need. Any way to kill the heart without playing cards? I would very much doubt it. But I'd love for somebody to prove me wrong. I'd love to know. I'd love to know. Actually, could be possible in theory to kill the heart without playing cards. We take that 452 max health run from last Friday, give it 3 Thorns potions, and it might be able to do it. Just survive until the heart kills itself on you. Or if that would be enough. I don't know. In any event, that is gonna do it for me tonight. Thank you everybody for joining me for today's Spire Shenanigans. Apologies again for that really poorly timed internet outage. It was pretty brutal. And checking out the end of Deck of Ashes with me. I am scoping out some other potential games to check out in the near future. There's a lot of like deck building games that are popping up suddenly, and so there's an impetus there to check all of them out because of the high overlap both in my interest and presumably audience interest. Ironclad can run without playing attacks? Definitely. Ironclad can absolutely win without playing attacks. I have not done it myself, I don't think, but I have seen it done, Carissa. If you get a starting rare Juggernaut, all the other classes can do it a lot more easily, like Defect can, just with the starting deck, win fights without playing attacks. Silent has poison, but Ironclad has the hardest time, but it's still possible. Combust Juggernaut is usually the way to go. Anyway, I hope you all have an excellent evening. We'll be back tomorrow at approximately 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for some more Slay the Spire action. I'm not 100% sure what I'll be doing in Slay the Spire, but I'm sure it'll be fun. I had a lot of fun with the A15 runs today, so I might just do some more of that. Gotta craft another Bludgeon Madness Pain deck, right? Alrighty, well, I hope you all have an awesome night, everybody. And I'll see you all soon. Ta-ta for now, and thanks for watching.